The future belongs to those who dare, those who will do extra. Hi, I'm Mark Croskery, and welcome to Business Live Extra, the program that looks beyond the dollars and cents to the movers and shakers in business and the capital markets. Our guest spent 11 years as an insurance executive in Jamaica and a reinsurance broker in London. He holds a Bachelor from the University of South Florida and a diploma in insurance from the Chartered Insurance Institute in London. Later on, he followed his dream in the uncertain world of entertainment with his group of friends to all create the company behind Jamaica's largest and most impactful music festival, Dream Weekend, and the country's biggest carnival mass band, Xodus Carnival. Passionate about entertainment, he's an advocate for the entertainment industry and is widely regarded as one of the most respected voices in Caribbean entertainment. Still tied to his interest in insurance, he's also the managing director of the microfinance entity Loans Unlimited and a consultant to allied insurance brokers. Our guest today is Mr. Scott Dunn, founded and managing director of Dream Entertainment Limited. Scott, welcome to Business Live Extra.
Respect, Mark.
It's great to see you, man.
Nice to be here.
No, it's our pleasure. You know, Scott, everyone knows Dream Entertainment. It's just such a widely known brand. You and your friends, you and your business associates have grown it, and everybody knows you as a CEO of Dream.
Right.
You know, you're well out there, but you're also an entrepreneur. I mean, you've built a number of businesses, startups over your lifetime. You know, how did you really get started and get passionate about being a businessman?
Well, I kind of probably was born a businessman. Both parents are entrepreneurs. My father was in and out of corporate, but had various entrepreneurial ventures, and my mother has always been. My mother has a closed-store gay shell boutique, mostly close to 40 years.
Okay.
So I grew up in businesses. A lot of my uncles and aunts are entrepreneurs. So I kind of grew up with that mindset. I tell people, every school have that kid who's always selling something at school.
Yes.
That was me at Woolmars.
Okay.
That was me in college as well.
So did you, a lot of great business persons we speak to on Business Live Extra, or just, business owners, they've worked in some family business or just, mom and pop shop or some business. Did you work in either of your parents' companies?
Yeah, for sure. So I used to do summer jobs. So my parents had a furniture store at one point called Home Comforts in Barbican. I used to do summer jobs there, working predominantly on delivery. So I'd be like, on the delivery van, delivering furniture literally to every corner of the island, so which was, pretty cool doing in high school, but, proper hard work, done.
In those days, they had like finance and furniture like Courts does now, or was it straight?
Yeah. It was, they were financing stuff for sure. I sure took a bunch of licks along the way too. But yeah, it was fun. I said jumping on that delivery van, and I said my uncle had a furniture manufacturing business at one point, Eco Trends, and that was kind of one of my earlier jobs coming out of university as well.
And so as young as your teenage years, like how old were you when you were like say on a delivery van, seeing the hustle and getting furniture
probably 12,
out there?
12, 13, that kind of age. And similarly, I said, we'd work Christmases at my mother's clothes store, we'd, help wrap gifts and that kind of stuff at Christmas time. That was before life was easy with gift bags. Nobody thought about gift bags. That you actually have to wrap all the gifts that people were buying for people at Christmas time.
And you're interacting with the customers.
For sure. Yeah. Literally, I said my mom has had that store almost my whole life. So literally, growing up around her customers, a lot of the customers are auntie, auntie to be.
And so is this, I would say you're known in the marketplace for customer service, getting things done, being a doer. Is that kind of some of the background where you got that kind of early experience?
Yeah, I would think so. I never really thought of it much, but yeah, I guess growing up in business, growing up in customer service centered kind of business, you appreciate that from an early age. That that's the customer is your boss. The customer is who paying the bills. So I guess I've been, whether conscious it or not, that's something that's, I guess, been embedded in me.
And I thought you'd be a Campion guy, but I went to
a great school.
You went to Woolmars.
I went to the Woolmars.
And what strengths, what challenges? I mean, what has Woolmars built you into today? Would you say?
You know what? I think one of the things I appreciated most about Woolmars is that you get people from all kind of background. I mean, literally, I'll be going to school with somebody whose father was a Dunn, and somebody who father is a professor at UWI. And that kind of balance and understanding that people come from different backgrounds, but we all can come here and get together and and appreciate each other and our differences. And that really have a lot more similarities than differences.
And have you stayed in touch, or are you a member of the alumni?
Yeah.
Or giving back?
Like I have a WhatsApp group, class of '92. That's my graduating year. We probably have 100 guys in that group alone, which that group is like. If I follow that group, that's all I do all day on WhatsApp with that group. I was a member of I'm a member of the Old Boys Association, but I was on the executive for a number of years. Kind of been a little busy the last few years. I haven't been as active, and I still always reach out to when I've done mentoring. I've helped out with football program, track and field program.
Excellent.
At different times.
You mentioned selling things, and that's also something I tell you. Some of the great entrepreneurs just get into that mindset from early. What are some of the stories, or what are some of the things you juggled?
So like in high school, like if we'd go away on holiday with my family, like I would be never thinking about stuff to get for myself. I'm thinking about stuff that I can buy and carry back to school and sell. Yeah. So whether it was sweets and candies and that kind of stuff, or clothes. In university, I used to sell like mixtapes for different DJs, and literally tapes, cassettes, like pre-CDs. So actually, while I was in college is when we moved from cassettes to CDs. So my early years in college, I'd have been selling cassettes, and then my last year of college, we were probably selling CDs. I used to buy and sell car sound system. That's when I started really in events in a kind of significant way. So I was doing events pretty much every Friday. We used to have events in college that I was involved in. So a number of things.
So for college now, because you're always trading now. You're always buying and selling things. Yeah. Where did you go to university or college?
I went to University of South Florida, which is in Tampa, Florida. So it's not really in South Florida. It's really in Central Florida, but the school is University of South Florida. So I was there 94 to 97. Amazing experience.
And did you study, was it business or marketing?
So I studied international studies, which is basically the same as international relations. So it was a degree that kind of training you for kind of foreign affairs, kind of to be a diplomat. That was the plan.
Yeah. So you wanted to be in an embassy or be a diplomat at the time?
I knew I was going to be, because I graduated at Wolmer's in 92. 92 to 93, I went to Venezuela as an exchange student. So coming out of Venezuela in 93, I'm fluent in Spanish. College 94 to 97, have my degree in international studies. I'm coming back to Jamaica now, so they can post me at an embassy in Cuba or Spain or Mexico or something.
And is that really coming from, a lot of kids always say that their parents, are trying to, lead their career.
I don't think my parents.
Is that you, or is that your mom and dad?
My parents never pushed me in any direction, to be perfectly honest. It's just like, they just wanted. I think their thing was for me to go out and get a degree. I wasn't like somebody that was like really into school at the time. I was just kind of just doing the bare minimum to get through school. Funny enough, my last year of college was interesting. My mom said to me, because I'm just barely passing through college.
Right.
And my mother was like, it's a shame that you go to school for 4 years and none of your teachers gonna know that you're smart. And I'm like,
this is what your mom said to you?
Yeah. I'm like, them gonna know that I'm smart now, So I ended up on the dean's list, getting 4.0 GPA in my last year of college, just kind of like to prove that, these teachers gonna know that I'm smart. But come back to Jamaica after college now with this dream of getting this embassy job, and then big reality check.
And what was it really, was it that you saw somebody who was a diplomat, or you knew somebody that really attracted you to, say, that sector?
No, so to be honest, I tried an international studies class, really liked it. It was really the only types of classes that I was enjoying in college. So everything related to international studies, I found those classes really interesting. There was a lot of history. Terrorism was a big topic at the time. And interestingly, that my school actually had a big tie to Islamic Jihad. So we had a couple of professors who turned out to be members like senior members of Islamic Jihad, and all that was going on while because it was just a very interesting topic to me. I was always very curious about Cuba and the Cuban Revolution.
And you mentioned actually at some point, you spent a year in Venezuela.
Right.
So was it also like you wanted to maybe travel the world, do things internationally then?
Yes,
just being in
I was
Jamaica?
always interested in travel. My mom's business, my mom has this clothes store, and she buys like all over the globe for the store. She buys in Thailand, she buys in Brazil, she buys in Spain, France, India, China, all over the place. So I've always been interested in seeing other places and traveling. And then that year in Venezuela made me even more hungry for it. I got to Venezuela at 16, survive a year over there on basically on my own.
Very brave of you, very.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, when I think about it, I'm like, my parents sent me away to a country that them don't know one single person at 16, but worked out. Because those were simpler times. I can't imagine sending any of my kids anywhere at 16.
And when you look at it, Scott, so aspiring diplomat, looking at kind of the embassy lifestyle, and then all of it, you're kind of pivoting into this entertainment entrepreneur and a few other things.
Right.
When did that kind of light bulb hit you to, look at this entertainment space?
Well, so I was always dabbling in entertainment, as I said. So from high school at Wolmer's through student council, then at college, I said working. My boss at the time, I used to work at a Jamaican restaurant. My boss at the time, Andrew, he used to have Jamaican parties over there, reggae parties, and I used to work with him and do those. And then coming back to Jamaica now, I said now in 97, again, have a job, but kind of just dabbling in entertainment. And I said it's really not, in terms of seeing it as a career, is really not until Dream came around many years later. So when we started Dream Entertainment in 09 is when it kind of started saying, hey, this may be something I could actually do.
So in the restaurant you mentioned in Tampa while you're in college, did he really kind of take you in his wings and kind of mentor you, or was it just really you're just working there?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was anything as structured as kind of like a mentorship thing. It was just kind of like you just kind of just get thrown in the deep end, and you kind of learn it as you go along. And I said coming home in the summers, I would be doing events in the summer. So like I said, 94 would have been, I started college in the spring of 94, January 94. So come home that summer, I did an event with my cousin Arif Cooper, who's a DJ, and Richie West, who used to own Syndicate Sound System at the time. Arif was a DJ in Syndicate. So we did an event that summer, and summer 95 actually worked with Reggae Sunsplash. So indirectly we worked in PR for Dunn, Schindler and Associates. And so we did all the PR for Sunsplash. I wrote all the articles, did a whole bunch of interviews. So it kind of just got
going.
And to a more structured way within entertainment.
And when you're looking back, Scott, was it really like, like most college kids? Was it like, I got to pay my bills, or was it really like, this is a passion I have, or was it a mix?
It was a mix of both. So it was kind of like, again, I'm kind of just had this idea that I always need to hustle, I always need to have my own money. Yeah. So that was part of it. But, it was kind of just building up this love for it. I mean, it was more fun than work at the time. It was going out, handing out flyers, give you opportunity to meet people.
So
kind
of like what money you made, you made.
Yeah,
I like it.
Just about like losing.
We're going to come back to that point. We take our first break on Business Dive Extra. More when we return. Welcome back to Business Dive Extra. Dream Entertainment began as a startup among a group of friends and has grown into a well-known and respected corporate entity. The team has over 15 years hands-on experience in developing entertainment, tourism, and corporate executions. Dream's owned properties include Dream Weekend Jamaica, Xodus Carnival, Dream Weekend New York, Dream Weekend Tampa, Dream Weekend Cruise, Blue Weekend, and a 50% stake in Epic Weekend Miami. It was incorporated in 2009. The company continues to develop new owned events and has maintained a very loyal clientele of private and public sector clients such as Grace Kennedy, Wisynco, Port Authority, and Pepsi that they produce in events and perform other marketing-related services such as content creation, digital media marketing, live streaming, set design branding, etc. It's a one-stop shop. Let's hear more about Living the Dream from Mr. Scott Dunn, founding and managing director of Dream Entertainment Limited. Scott, welcome back.
Great.
How, your early years of doing parties, you mentioned so many, connections a while ago and everything, when we were speaking, are those things that just dropped in your lap, or is it really, you really had to just push into the market and get to meet all these people, get to know these people? I
guess a mixture of both. I mean, sometimes you look in life and you just meet the right people at the right time. But I say, there's always been a lot of hard work out there. Nothing has really come easy, I would say, for me. It's been a lot of hard work. People underestimate the kind of work that goes into events. I think only people in the business really appreciate what that workload is like and what those hours can be like.
Were your first events in the 90s or your early events profitable right away from the get-go, or you had a couple of hemorrhaging events, like most business events?
Feeling the pain. So the first big event that we did was, I said, that event with Arif and Richie in 94. It was an event called Scare Them Uptown with Elephant Man, Sean Paul, Syndicate, Travelers. It was like a big event at the time. I mean, promoted it the whole summer. It was going to be a hit. And then we had rain the entire day. And I think we ended up losing, I believe it was like $60-something thousand each. I'm going to tell you, in 94, it's like,
a dollar was probably,
I don't know, but it would feel like I lose 10 million
just
today.
Sound like 10,000 US or more.
That 60,000 was like never again. That was how I left that event. Like, there's nothing on earth that could make me keep another party, because there's no way on earth I losing $60,000 again. It took me a little while. Thankfully, I had the comfort of those events I was doing in Tampa, which weren't actually my events.
So you had some savings or buffer.
Yeah, and it was, and when I was getting back into events, it was risk-free, because I'm working for somebody with his events in Tampa, and I'm essentially earning like a commission on the event. So, I got to get my feet back wet on a risk-free kind of basis to like build up that confidence again to say, all right, I can go back out and try this on my own. But I mean, it was a good lick.
So let's say you do this, you do parties, you do pay events, and everything's happening, and you're doing this all on your own, right? I mean, in those years, or was it you and the friends in the 90s?
Yes, I would have been with different partners over the time.
From as far back as then.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So you're doing that for however long, 15 years, 13 years, you're getting it going. So is it like a lot of businesses, even if it was informal, where it took you almost 10 to 15 years to get the groundwork, and then Dream came in 2009?
Yes, so Dream came in 2009. So when Dream came around, we was already well established as event promoters. That's actually how, the concept of Dream. It was basically some well-established events coming together to have this Dream weekend. So on my side, it was me and PP and at the time Quiz from T3 that we had Yush together at the time. Quiz is no longer a part of Yush, and that was the event that we brought to this Dream weekend. Along with some of the other founding partners.
Was Dream your idea at the time, or were you the inspiration behind it?
No, I won't take credit for that. I say it was actually a group of us came together. To be honest, I can't remember whose idea. I feel PJ Wright was kind of one of the people who kind of had the idea initially. And funny enough, Matty Samuda. Senator Matty Samuda. So the first Dream meeting ever was held at Matty Samuda's house.
Because he had a party as well.
Yes, so Matty was a part of Dream in the early days. So, it's kind of like interesting.
Was it kind of like, but was it like over a night of drinking? Was it to become more corporate? No. A lot of great businesses you hear, like Casamigos, lots of these things are just boom, everybody's together at a party and say,
we came together with a mission. So that meeting was held with a genuine plan. So we'd been in the space in the grill before, because prior to Dream, we were either involved in ATI or RTI. So Dream was bringing together the best parties at ATI with the best parties at RTI, which were already happening in the grill, 5, 10 years already.
before.
So like, prior to Dream, you should have been in the grill maybe 3, 4 years as a part of ATI.
Right.
So we kind of understood the concept already, but at the time, the events were driven by the sponsors, by the liquor companies. It was Appleton that really was taking the lead, or Red Stripe taking the lead. We realized that we were the ones doing all the work, but really they were the ones that were building up the brand equity. So we were like, one, we need to take over this and own the brand. And two, instead of people trying to figure out whether they want to go to ATI or RTI, why we don't just take the best parties, put them together, and that would be a dream.
Yeah. And how the brand itself, Dream,
yeah.
how did it, what does it really mean, and how did it evolve, or how was it created in hindsight?
Well, I say it's really that. It was about bringing a dream team of promoters together to give patrons the dream experience in the grill. And from early, we also had realized, we saw where the market was moving a little bit. So in prior days, in the days when you probably were down in the grill, ATI, RTI days, it was predominantly a college-age crowd. We saw where hotel rooms were getting more expensive, travel was getting more expensive, and it was slowly shifting to an older audience. Actually, it was kind of like, something them talk about with like Harry Potter, that people like grow older with the books. We were seeing that the crowd was growing with the brand. So people who were there at 18 were still there at 25 and realized it was getting older and older, and we realized, it's going to be more and more difficult for people locally to afford this based on what hotels are charging.
Right.
So we need to push this more and more internationally. And again, that was kind of the vision that we had as the founders of Dream together, that this was something that, that we could market internationally and that could be successful to our international audience.
It's not just that you made it corporate, but you guys were like a young team that kind of came in and kind of, as you said, ATI was kind of getting old, or RTI, and you kind of made it modern again.
Yeah, so it was a little fresher approach, a little more energy. I mean, we weren't super young at the time, but we still were, kind of out there. We were relevant.
I guess, as they say in the entertainment sector, you guys looked young.
We looked young enough. And I said, you were saying like we're relevant. We're out in the streets a lot. We're out, at night a lot. People knew us, all relatively popular guys. I said it was 11 founders, and everybody was.
It's probably like, thank God for Botox.
I don't need any yet.
Do you find, what's the average age now of Dream today versus maybe Dream 5, 10 years ago, Scott?
So when we started, our average age probably would have been early 20s. Now it's probably early 30s.
Really? Okay.
Most people that come to Dream are between 25 and 45, and most come from outside of Jamaica.
Because based on what you're saying, people are just like, they're literally aligning with the brand equity, and they're staying, and I think in some of the promotions it says like, person's a dreamer. So they're actually staying on regardless of the age?
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a more grown-up brand, and it's more of it's an adult escape. People in professional jobs, if you know the book and the movie, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, that's kind of another thing that we draw that parallel. So it's like these people who in their professional life, are very straight-laced and very, doctors, lawyers, accountants. When they come to Dream, them have a water gun at the water park and acting buck wild,
and kind of on that point, though, when you look at some of the great brands, right? Whether it's Virgin, huge lifestyle brands in Miami, South Beach, you've done some functions there recently. I mean, are there plans to, you've been corporate. I mean, are there plans to kind of look at hotels at all, or other potential avenues for the Dream brand?
Yes, certainly. So again, we've always looked at Jamaica as like, a perfect opportunity to be like a Las Vegas, a South Beach, Ibiza in Spain, in kind of these places that people travel to specifically for entertainment. And I think, our intention is to build that out initially with festivals and different seasons. So, right now we have people traveling here in August for Dream Weekend, and travel here in April for Carnival. And, I think we'll build out 4 or 5 festivals like that annually, and then the next phase will actually be to move in terms of, and the government has similar plans in creating like an entertainment corridor, somewhere where there'll be a lot of entertainment spaces, and then the next step would be to have our own hotels, and within those hotels.
And is that, based on the history of what's happening now, would that be the grill for this kind of time, or could that change?
It could potentially be the grill, but it could be a brand new space altogether. It could be somewhere that's not even developed yet.
Okay.
But I say Jamaica, one, has a much stronger brand connected to entertainment than any of these places I mentioned. I mean,
Is this kind of like the Tulum vibe? Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Tulum, the success story of Tulum is incredible. It kind of makes us feel like we're kind of missing the ball here. Because I said, I don't think 5 years ago many people had even heard of Tulum. And if I'm not mistaken, I mean, we could look it up, but I believe Tulum have something like 20 million tourists a year. That's one tiny little town in Mexico that has 5 times the tourists that all of Jamaica have. And Tulum is not a brand that's synonymous with entertainment the way Jamaica is. People think of Jamaica and think of reggae music.
It's a great point you make there, Scott. We're going to come right back to that point on, you know, the whole contrast, I guess, or interesting points between Tulum and Jamaica. We take another break on Business Live Extra. More with Scott Dunn when we return. Welcome back to Business Live Extra. In 2019, Proven Investments invested $570,000 US into Dream Entertainment for a 20% equity stake. This resulted in Dream becoming an associate company of Proven. Being the life of the party, Dream boasts many accomplishments and is widely considered as a leader in Jamaica's event tourism industry. In June 2020, the COVID-19 Economic Recovery Task Force published that the 2 entertainment events with the largest economic contributions to Jamaica are Carnival contributing Jamaican $4.7 billion and Dream Weekend contributing Jamaican $4.3 billion. However, with the closure of the entire entertainment industry for 16 months due to the impact of the pandemic, they face a harsh reality. We're talking to Mr. Scott Dunn, founding and managing director of Dream Entertainment Limited. Scott, welcome back.
Good to be here, man.
Yeah, awesome, and it's a pleasure having you. You're making some really, important points, on Tulum a while ago and Jamaica. Tulum was not even really on the radar, I recall many years ago. But I think one of the differences in, let's say, certain parts of Mexico or Tulum is that, they have security forces, the speed bumps, and they even have towers with armed guards. I mean, do you think that's something that could happen in areas in Jamaica, whether it's Aracabesa, Negril, wherever these areas are?
Yes, I mean, we don't get into the specifics of the security. Obviously, tourists need to feel safe wherever they're traveling to. But I think the success of Tulum has been more who they're marketing to, which is really that millennial tourist, which I think Jamaica, that's kind of where we're missing the mark. Other than with our events, things like Dream Weekend and Carnival, what is it that we as a product, as a destination, is really offering, all these people in them 20s and 30s that are out there making good money, that, travel is really kind of like the passion. People are looking for these Instagrammable moments. They want to go to places where they can have a beautiful picture to post at the end of the week. I think that's kind of where, and I think the tourist board understands that, and I think that's something that hopefully we'll see over the next year or so, where our product develops, attracting more of those people. Even in this, mid to post-pandemic period, that the traveler who's going to be the quickest to get out there is that millennial traveler. The older person is going to still be a little bit cautious.
And sticking to that point, when you go to Tulum, beautiful restaurants, some of them are just really pop-ups on some gravel, but great food, organic food. I mean, but if you stick to that point and say, okay, some of them are European plans, not necessarily all-inclusives, where do you think in Jamaica could look like that or develop like that, given that we have so much all-inclusives already? Yeah,
well, I mean, Negril already is primarily European plan stuff. I think Adam Stewart was talking about it, I mean, as the king of all-inclusive, and he even was saying that that's where we have a need, and the European plan products. I think he was kind of speaking maybe more like a Port Antonio, a great place for that. We see stuff coming up in Aracabesa, as you mentioned. So I think there's opportunities. I mean, also Kingston as a destination has a lot to offer. I mean, we're UNESCO cultural city. We have great entertainment, great food. I mean, we both live in Kingston. We understand that Kingston, has a lot that tourists could come here and enjoy, but we're not, Kingston just has that stigma of not being safe. And I think that's something that's important for us to market in the product. Because like any big city in the world, of course there's areas of Kingston that aren't safe, but I don't think any tourist would have any reason to feel unsafe in New Kingston, which is where pretty much all of the room stock is in Kingston.
And when you mention marketing, you're talking about the global marketing from a Jamaica perspective.
Yeah, for sure. For the brand Jamaica, or if for people who want to be doing business in Kingston, tourism business. So for hotels in Kingston, I think there's opportunity to push to that millennial tourist to be selling the nightlife in Kingston, selling the food. I don't think anybody's really doing a great job of that. I think people are the tourists that we get in Kingston are either the business travelers or the people who come in here to visit family and stuff. It's not that people that come in here to see Kingston. Outside of like the hardcore reggae tourists, somebody that wants to go to Bob Marley Museum or Culture Yard or whatever.
I mean, because in a way, you are an ambassador of Jamaica. Right. I mean, you're in entertainment, your face is well known, you're well known. I mean, when a tourist, whether they're corporate or so, still hits Kingston Hotel, well-known Kingston Hotel, and the front desk may say, don't walk on the streets, don't walk around. How do you think as a Jamaican citizen, that could potentially change? Or
well, again, it starts right there. We have to make sure that people at the concierge desk, people at our front desk, people that work in our hotels stop feeding people that that rubbish. It's just not true. Those some people that telling people not to go out on the street, they're going out on the street right as work done too. They're going.
Correct.
They're going to Ribby's. They're going to the bar AC Hotel. They're going to the various restaurants all around town. And I said, there's great spots in Kingston that are safe and that have world-class entertainment. Great food.
No, well said. No, dream by the numbers, right? What's your staff kind of headcount now, for full-time or part-time?
Right. So pre-COVID we're about 20 full-time. We're now somewhere around 10 full-time right now. But it really doesn't paint the picture of what we do. Because, I mean, an event like Dream Weekend, just to give you in terms of like contractors, we probably use 200 bar staff, 100 catering staff.
So you kind of, level up or bring on these people.
Right.
Is it that you have many subsidiaries below Dream Entertainment, or it's just, each thing is just kind of like a show or a one-off event?
No, well, it's really, I said, we hire a lot of contractors. It's not necessarily two subsidiaries, but, indirectly we employ, an event like Dream Weekend, probably over 1,000 people that we indirectly employ.
So you could spike to 1,020, but it's just at these specific timetables.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Around the large events. Most of the year, in terms of the planning of the events, we do with a pretty small team. Very, well-experienced team and team that, again, people will be surprised because a lot of times what you used to see in entertainment is people kind of used to fall into entertainment. It's like, people not good at anything else and them gone because them things say it's an easy job.
Try to make a money and
the people that,
going.
we have multiple people that work for us with master's degrees. We have people who have come out of big corporate jobs to come and work at Dream. So we really have a highly qualified staff, really bright team.
And do you find, Scott, are a lot of people doing it, to your point, as a full-time, or a lot of people are doing it as a side hustle?
It's still mostly a side hustle. Certainly people in the event side hustle. So people who put on events, party promoters, is predominantly a side hustle, which, works for us because we're competing against people that trying to do it part-time while we're doing it full-time.
That's a good point.
So it always keeps us a step ahead because, again, if you're working at the bank all day and then, trying to plan your event at night, and we're on it from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Not getting a full 100 effort.
You're not catch we.
And, when you look at it overall, exactly to your point, and the meat of the matter, with COVID-19 now, the pandemic, restrictions, curfews, how bad has that impacted or hit the core business?
Tremendously. It's been a rough run. We went since March 2020 to basically now, as August, when we have Dream Weekend on August 5th to 9th, it essentially be our first event in Jamaica in basically a year and a half. Through that, we maintain staff, we maintain our corporate office, we still maintain our Carnival showroom, we maintain a storeroom. So our losses, I mean...
So the fixed costs haven't disappeared?
Fixed costs haven't disappeared. And also, as I said, and with almost no income other than... So even within our corporate job, so we have a number of corporate clients, which you mentioned earlier, but the majority of the work we do for corporate clients was event work as well. So even the money on the corporate side...
Their brands come in when you have events.
Or people that we would do their Christmas party or do a launch for them. There's been no such business in the last year.
That comes under Dream too?
Yeah, that falls under Dream Entertainment. Those executions. So like, for example, Port Authority is our client. So the first quarter of 2020 was actually great for us. We did, is when the cruise ship started coming to Port Royal.
Right.
So the build-out that people would have seen on the port in Port Royal, and the music and entertainment was really all Dream Entertainment putting that in place. And that was, the business was very robust that first quarter. But then again, I say, come March, everything shut down.
In that period, Scott, year and change, have you done anything, your board of directors, your partners, have you done anything totally out of the ordinary to pivot, or was it just the overseas events?
Yeah, we've done, listen, we've done everything to survive. So, obviously we've done a lot of virtual events. So for, clients, we've done particularly some of the Grace Kennedy subsidiaries. We did a number of virtual events for them. We did stuff for GK Capital.
That's like with live DJs or something, or?
No, more, corporate type stuff. We did a virtual wine tasting event for GK Capital and GK.
They send like a bottle to like the client's houses or something like that?
Right, send a bottle to the client's houses, exactly. Okay. And then we had, wine connoisseurs from all over the world teaching people how to sip the wine and that kind of stuff. So we did a bunch of virtual events, which is something we hadn't touched before. We also got into social media management. So we manage,
for corporates?
For corporate clients. So obviously we had been managing our own pages for many years and obviously built up expertise over the years.
So it shows that track record.
It shows that track record. So, I run a joke all the time, like these people, a lot of corporate companies are hiring agencies to manage their social media, and the agency don't even have 1,000 followers on their Instagram. I'm like, what makes you think these people know anything about social media? Dream have 100,000 followers. We show that we know something about social media to get to the 100,000 followers. So we've done that type of stuff. We've acted as just like an intermediary client. Literally anything a client has asked for, things that we would normally say, oh, we don't do that. We do it now.
We do it now.
Yeah, because if it even means just being a middleman.
And you've built up a lot of personalities or influencers during that timetable. For
sure. And it's the relationships. We've been able to leverage a lot of relationships that we've built over the years, and been able to use them over this period now. So people that were like, honestly, Dream, we're on the face right now. We have a client that need to do this. We need you to give us best rates possible, so at least we can mark this up a little bit and pass it on to our client.
No,
so
I like that. Sounds good. We take another break on Business Live Extra. More with Managing Director and Founder of Dream Entertainment, Mr. Scott Dunn, when we return. Welcome back to Business Live Extra. The entertainment industry has reopened on July 1st, 2021, and Dream Entertainment Limited's team is committed to deliver to their patrons more than before. There are many questions surrounding the entertainment sector in moving forward. Pointedly, will the entertainment industry remain the same since the pandemic or change permanently? We're going to get these answers from Dream. We're back for a final time with Mr. Scott Dunn, founding and managing director of Dream Entertainment Limited. Scott, welcome back for a final time today.
Yeah, it's been interesting.
So we were talking about, the investment, proven as well. Yeah. I mean, what's it been like? One of the big benefits is, I guess, corporate governance, and it showed, the entertainment sector and everybody young also, probably persons who look for mentorship, that, you can come into this sector, creative industry, and boom, get a big investor like Chris Williams and Proven. How's that kind of journey been, and what's it been like in the past 2 years?
Yeah, so certainly it's given us a lot of credibility. So a lot of the people out there who kind of don't take entertainment serious, you know, when they see, you know, the Peter Buntings and Mark Goldings and Chris McDonnell and Chris Willis of this world, you know, respecting your brand enough to make a significant investment like that in it, and to be an associate company of, you know, kind of one of the biggest investment companies in the whole Caribbean, Proven Investments, is, you know, it's been an honor. It's been, you know, very interesting journey. Obviously, as you said, it's brought a lot of structure to the company, structure that, you know, has done us well, I think, for the most part. Obviously, there's been teething pains with it, but the governance, I think, is one of those things that's important.
Did members of Proven join your dream board as well, like a board appointee or two?
Right. So initially, when Proven came on board, Chris Young, who's no longer at Proven, he was the board member that was on the team, and then it's now Chris Williams.
Okay.
So we'll have Chris Williams and all the personality that comes along with him in our board meetings now.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been interesting. I said we've now have, you know, like an audit committee. We have a remuneration committee.
Okay.
So we kind of set up.
So you got those good old charters and lots of questions coming into you.
You know, we have a corporate secretary, and, you know, everything is properly minuted, and and we basically set up now that, you know, we could go public now in terms of our structure and governance, which is what we didn't have at the time. So when Proven came on board, we'd have had the numbers to go public, but not necessarily the structure and the governance. I mean, unfortunately, COVID has come in the way.
Which you could have never planned for. I mean, it's just blindsided everybody.
So in terms of timeliness to go public, obviously, that took away the numbers from us.
Yes.
But we have the structure and the governance, and we're confident that, you know, again, we're reopened now. We're going to be having Dream Weekend, August 5th to 9th in the Grill. We're following that right up with Dream Weekend New York on August 27th to 29th. So we have...
So
some
you
stuff
kind of
ready.
feel like you'll come back stronger now?
I think ultimately we'll come back stronger. And a lot of people have looked at this pandemic and you know, said that, you know, like the roaring 20s that came after the Spanish flu, that a lot of people feel that this, you know, the post-pandemic period going to be really buzzing for entertainment. And
that entertainment could again become one of the best performing sectors for a few years.
I think certainly for a few years it will be one of those. So, you know.
Have you know, a lot of companies that got beaten up in COVID have used the time to kind of adjust their costs or their processes. I mean, you're lean already, as you mentioned, but have you been able to kind of, you know, look at your cost structure to make it even better, or are you not that case? Well,
right now is really kind of the testing proof, because we basically have 3 weeks to plan Dream Weekend, and we literally, though the time is so short, we literally have to be examining every single line item, and, you know, we're not there yet, but so far we've seen stuff that we're like, that we're doing different this year that's going to lead to some savings, and we're like, that's something that I think we'll continue with, you know?
Yeah.
So there's a few things that, because you're forced into that situation that you have to be lean, that you kind of realize, and we really never need all that fat all this time.
Okay.
So I think there will be some good lessons.
You kind of get to outsource some more things or something like that? Or?
Yeah, or just things, just be more efficient. You know, there's just less waste. I mean, you know, kind of when you're on top and you're making money, you kind of have the luxury of having a little bit of fat and a little bit of waste along the line. Because you're like, oh, it's neither here or there if we have 50 bartender or 60 bartender. Who cares? That's not going to broke with. But you know, when you've got a year and a half, you know, of taking losses, you're like, yo, 48 or 47 bartenders. Like,
do you feel, Scott, you know, you have so many partners, or whether it's directors, I mean, there's many parties on the Dream, but you're the CEO, you're the guy. Do you find, you know, even with the Proven investment or the governance, do you find that sometimes you're in the firing line, or have you actually enjoyed taking on that, you know, governance responsibility?
I wouldn't say I enjoy it. I mean, I'm in the firing line, but I've never shied away. And people who've kind of followed up in terms of, you know, what's been happening in the entertainment industry in the last year and a half, and you know, I've kind of put myself out in the public. I've kind of exposed myself because I believe what I believe, and you know, I'm not afraid to say it. So I'm going to go out. I'm going to do what I think is right. I'm going to say what I think is right, and you know, I welcome the criticism if the criticism is there. I don't have no problem. I think my back broad.
And that point, I mean, you're the most outspoken now. You know, I haven't really seen, you know, other persons in entertainment, whether they're small, mid-size, or even massive.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're in tourism entertainment, I haven't seen anyone really go out and say.
It's been a little bit frustrating for me because I feel like I know I'm not the only one that's suffering. I feel like a lot of people reach out to me privately and say, man, you know, thank you for talking up, you know, and I'm like, yo, you need to talk up too, you know, like, come on, like, I can't be the one. But, you know, for whatever reason, you know, people have been suffering in silence. And I think because of that, people in the public don't understand the magnitude of the situation, how many people really hurting, you know, I mean.
Do you feel like you're being listened to?
Thankfully, I mean, you know, again, when I first put myself out there in a big way, earlier this year I wrote an open letter to the government. And I mean, I had no idea. That was just me just, you know, speaking from my heart, putting it out there. You know, I sent it to the Gleaner and the Observer. They both published it. I had no idea what the reception would be like. If people are going to beat me down and be like, what are you talking about, entertainment in the middle of a pandemic? Or if people are going to, and I said, it came up that both the PM and the leader of the opposition spoke about the letter in Parliament.
Good for you.
You know, it was pretty much picked up by even international media. I was on the news in Canada and all kind of stuff out of it. So, you know, you kind of realize sometimes, you know, you kind of have to speak from the heart. Like, you know, this is inside and it's all bottled up, but just...
Is entertainment now, you know, we spoke about some of the numbers, 4.3 billion, 4.7 billion.
Right.
I mean, there's some bigger numbers out there. Is entertainment now represented at the PSOJ?
So, funny enough, that's actually been one of our projects. So Kamal Banke, who's the chairman of Dream Entertainment, through this whole year and a half of really entertainment not having much of a voice, he realized that might be one of the routes to take. So we're actually, we've sent in our application to PSOJ, and PSOJ have been very supportive. I have to give it both PSOJ
to create some membership or board level,
and just to give us a voice and to be supportive of the industry. So both PSOJ and JHTA, and in particular, I would say Adam Stewart, on a personal level, have been very supportive of the challenges that the entertainment industry has faced. So, you know, again, it's an opportunity to thank them. Really, for kind of sticking their necks out for us as well.
That's excellent, because it seems like, regardless of the statistics and numbers, entertainment is still viewed informal.
Exactly. And I say, in fairness, a lot of it is informal. But the reality is, I say, for a long time, I was kind of like trying to, you know, shout these things out and that there's this big economic value and nobody was really listening much. So probably the positive is, out of this, you know, COVID-19 economic recovery, they did the study.
Right.
And they came up that entertainment, you know, is worth, like, I believe it was $83.4 billion.
Yes.
Right? And they also said in terms of intangibles, it could be as high as $100 billion extra.
And because I recall,
like IPs and that type of stuff.
I recall Howard McIntosh is on this entertainment advisory board, and he came up with these, you know, massive numbers.
Massive numbers. And those are his numbers. I said, this is the task force numbers, which was headed by the Minister of Finance. This is not like people in the entertainment.
It's not some pie in the sky number.
Yeah, not people in the entertainment industry. Like, this is, again, the government, the same government that it would have seemed like was kind of like diminishing the value of entertainment at the time. When they did the study, it was like, but, yo, this is big money.
And how do you see the sector itself? You know, culturally, we have a habit of just kind of going back to the norm. I mean, do you see the actual sector staying the same, you know, just going back to the norm, or do you actually see some changes happening in the sector?
Well, I think
consolidation or anything else?
I think there will be some consolidation coming out of it, because we've seen a number of our suppliers have had to scale down, or, you know, or even some of them are out of business. Again, it's a year and a half of no income. So, and like from our standpoint, as Dream, as one of the larger players in doing events, we really don't own a lot of the equipment that we use at our events. A lot of that is, you know, we use suppliers and whatever. I think as we grow, we'll probably consolidate with some of our suppliers and own a lot more of the equipment, because it's just, you know, the economies of scale just makes sense for us. It makes sense for us to own our own stages and sound systems and lightings and that type of stuff.
And Scott, when you really look at Dream, going back to that point earlier, and you know, the same Virgin brands, you know, you look at this kind of entertainment guru in South Beach, you know, who has live and nightclubs and hotels now with Pharrell and all type of things going on, you know, representing brands. I mean, could you see a Dream energy drink one day? Could you see consumer products, hotels? Is there a big picture where Dream maybe brings in a massive private equity investor and takes this to a whole other level?
But I think it's such, I mean, the brand itself is such a great brand. I mean, Dream anything sound good, you know? Dream water sound good, Dream ice sound good, the Dream hotel sound good.
Do you see that in the future?
Yeah,
or?
no, for certainly, because I say again, you know, what we've built up, I say, is a strong entertainment tourism brand, but it's truly a lifestyle brand. So I think the same people who gravitate to us for event would gravitate to us for clothing, would gravitate to us for, you know, hotel. Because essentially, even the tourist board does a survey at Dream every year, and they ask people what's their reason for people at Dream, what's their reason for being in Jamaica.
And people actually say Dream.
And the majority of the people say their reason for being is not for vacation, not for business, is not to visit family. So again,
so it's a goodwill in Dream.
It's the goodwill in Dream. That's the reason they took their trip. Now, if somebody is to go to take a trip to Jamaica for our festival, but stay at a third-party hotel, eat at third-party restaurants, I think that same person, because they believe in the brand, would stay at Dream Hotel.
They'd cross over
would
into
eat
other
at
things.
Dream's restaurant, would, you know, would buy Dream clothing. So I think certainly, I mean, the sky's the limit in terms of where we can go as a lifestyle brand.
Mm-hmm. And Scott, yourself personally, I mean, you have a few other businesses.
Right.
You're an entrepreneur. You have Loans Unlimited, microfinance standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, you do some financial advisory.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of the business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 5, 7, 10 years from now, where you see yourself going?
Kind of hard to say. I mean, I think my initial goal is to get Dream public. I think once
that's where you're at now.
Yeah. So once Dream is public, I think, you know, I'm kind of open to anything at that point. Mm-hmm. I've been in Dream since 2009, full time, I believe, since 2012. So I really put in a ton of blood, sweat, and tears, and there's been a lot of ups and downs. It's just coming out a year and a half down. Like I want to sit through that goal, you know, of taking the company public, leading the team to a listing. And then after that, I mean, I think anything is possible, you know, maybe kind of step back to more of a just kind of board role with Dream possibly, and then look into, you know, other type of businesses, you know.
And Dream today, is there a 51% shareholder, 75% shareholder, or is it cap table a lot of shareholders?
Yeah, so it's one large shareholder being proven. Proven is at 20% is our largest shareholder. Actually.
Is the largest shareholder?
Is the largest shareholder, and it's 11 equal shareholders, so people can do the math.
You see that changing in the future?
I think ultimately it will change because there's going to be times that you're going to need capital injection, and you know, people might move up or move down a bit, and there's also obviously when we go public, that's obviously
could change.
Those dynamics will change.
That's great to hear. And Scott, are you as passionate today about entertainment as you were 20 years ago?
More passionate, no. I would say I had a long stretch of not necessarily being that passionate, but if it's one thing, you know, this pandemic has taught me is really to appreciate what we have in entertainment. Again, as you know, I give you a little experience. So the first event that we had done, and we basically did no events in 2020. I think we had an event in February, and then in January of this year, we did an event in Miami, Xodus Carnival event. And I literally stood in the event with tears in my eyes. It was such a touching moment just to kind of be back in that space, be among what I call my people, which is entertainment people, is you know, event people, is, you know, that's everything from a bottle girl to a bartender to a bouncer, you know, to a lighting technician to a sound tech. Being around those people again, it's like you never realize this kind of camaraderie that you have. This is the people literally I grew up with. I mean, I'm doing events since you know, the mid-90s. So this is people literally that you grew up with, people that understand what you've been through for the last year, not being able to do events, you know, being in the smell of an event again, which is everything, you know, from, you know, the smell of pan chicken to like, you know, the sparklers that go on the bottles to, you know, perfume. And it's just this mix that only a outdoor Caribbean party smells like. And I never appreciated that before. You never took notice of that, but not having it for a year, you're like, wow, this is...
It's great to hear.
Yeah.
I like it. Scott, it's a pleasure having you on Business Live Extra. It's great. And it's good to see somebody, you've been in the sector for decades and you're still passionate and you love entertainment.
Love it.
It's great having you on Dream Entertainment.
Yeah.
It's great. That's it for another edition of Business Live Extra. Remember, dreams make us wonder, dreams open possibilities. Dreams make us believe in a better future. We've been talking with Mr. Scott Dunn, founder and managing director of Dream Entertainment Limited. Don't forget, you can watch us online at cvm.com/business/Business Live Extra. Thanks for joining us.